For some reason, there's a hold up and nothing is going through. For some reason, not sure why, honestly. Okay, well, I think that I'm going to try to figure it out next time, so that we can actually get started. Uh, all right, guys. It's really a pleasure to be, talking to you today, using technology, especially in these hard times. Um, Not even sure the stream is still going well. Guys, can you still hear me? Because I'm seeing some weird things happening here. Please, if you can hear me, can you write something in the chat? Uh, okay, I think the stream is having some issues. Okay, all right. Okay, great, great. All right, so again, we are going through very trying times right now, especially with the coronavirus, and I hope that you guys are staying safe. Okay, so a little bit about myself. My name is Gay Nono Gislin, and I am originally from a beautiful country in West Africa called Cote d'Ivoire. The English word for it would be the Ivory Coast. And I currently live in the state of Louisiana in the United States, and I am a professor of economics in a wonderful university called Louisiana Tech University. So yeah, so that's a little bit about myself. I am married to a wonderful lady. She's from a country called Chad in Central Africa, and we have her name is Esther, and we have a beautiful baby boy. All right, so this is a little bit about myself. Now, when it comes to data analysis, I've been using R since 2011. So it's been about 9 years now, and I have done a whole lot of things with it. I have done my research with R primarily, so all the research work that I did in my PhD, that I did in a university called Auburn in Alabama. This is in the United States. I used R for it, but I've used R for many projects too, personal projects. I did some consulting work in R as well, and more importantly, I have done a lot of training. I have given a lot of R training as well in data science. So, now that the whole world is going through, this coronavirus crisis, I thought that it would be a good idea, to use the technology we have and share my knowledge of R with you. I know that many of you are quarantined, you're not allowed to go anywhere. It's not the case for everybody, I know, but these are times in which we have a little more time, basically. So I thought that, maybe I can start this series of, R lessons for beginners in order to help you guys out. So, that's basically the idea behind this live streaming, and pretty much what we're going to be doing today is we're going to talk about data science generally. We're going to talk about R specifically, and you and I are going to agree on some things. Okay. So currently we have about 7 people on the stream on Twitch, and of course 0 people on YouTube. And I'm really sorry about the people on YouTube. I really hope that they switch over to Twitch, because in all my social media I posted both links. I'm really hoping that they switch to Twitch at some point. All right, so we're going to agree on times that you feel are better for the stream, and maybe how many times we should do the stream every week, and things like that. Also, the lessons that we're going to be doing are going to be recorded, so that even if you miss one of the streams, you will still be able to watch the recording. I'm going to be posting the recordings on my YouTube channel, but if you're on Twitch, if you come back to the Twitch channel, you can go to the videos tab and you will see the archives there. Now, the thing about it is, the archives on Twitch are not, they're going to be deleted at some point, So this is why I'm just going to take the files and then upload them to YouTube, because I think after 2 weeks or so you won't be able to access the files on Twitch, the recording on Twitch. All right, so that's basically it. And also, one thing I'd like to say is today, please go ahead and ask the questions that you want to ask me. That's perfectly fine. But when we actually start doing the data science lessons, I'm really going to be focusing on what I teach you, and I am going to try to reserve some times for question and answers, for Q&A, because it will be very hard for me to focus on what I'm teaching if I am trying to answer questions at the same time. I hope you understand what I mean. But today, it's really more casual. We're trying to get to know each other. We're trying to introduce what we're going to be talking about and what not. But later on, there will be specific times for it. And of course, I know you will have a lot of questions, especially if you're a beginner, because you're going to make a lot of errors. Your code is not going to be working well, and you will need help to fix the code. So I'm pretty sure that you guys are going to ask a lot of questions. But don't worry, we're going to figure out how to do everything ourselves. All right, guys, let's talk about the wonderful world of data science. And again, you can ask me questions in the chat. Jody, you can ask me questions on Slack. That's perfectly fine. If you're there, I will see your notification, so that's perfectly fine too. Okay, all right. So I opened a few things here, and this is the first thing that I would like to show you. All right, this infographic that you see there is an infographic that is produced once every year. And so the latest one is called the 2019 Internet Minute. So this is what happens on average in 1 minute on the internet. Okay, so we're not going to go through everything, but let's just take a quick look at a few of them. 1 million logins, and that's in only 60 seconds. 3.8 million Google search queries. 694,444 hours of movies watched on Netflix. Okay, now for those of us using WhatsApp and Facebook a lot, 41.6 million messages sent, and so on and so forth. Okay, you can think about what is happening on Twitch. So right now, you guys on Twitch, in a minute, we have about 1 million views on Twitch, and so on and so forth. Guys, this is just a snapshot. This is just a very small, fraction of what happens on the internet in a single minute. This is just to give you a basic idea of how much data is being generated in our world today. This is so much data, being generated every single day, or every single second, I should say. And that's only on the internet. But outside the internet, guys, we have sensors. We now have smart cars. We have smartphones. We have smart TVs. The data generated by our laptops, the data generated by, companies, services, businesses, people, and so on and so forth. So right now in 2020, this is the year of the national census in the United States. And I actually filled out my survey yesterday. So that was data that they collected on the people living in my house, And guys, we live in a world that has so much data. Actually, there's a very interesting statistic, which is really mind-blowing, in the sense that it is said that the data generated in the world in only the past 5 years is much, much larger than the data generated in the entire world throughout the 20th century. So can you imagine, in the past 5 years, we have produced more data than in 100 years in the past century. So this is how much data is being produced. So many people also say that we live in an era of data right now. Okay, we live in an era of data, and so this is something that we really need to understand, and to really keep in our mind, that we have a lot of data being generated. Now the question is, what can we do with the data that is being generated? Okay, or what are people doing? There are so many examples, and I'm going to show you a few of them. But basically, I would like you to see all this data that we have all around us as raw materials. As raw materials. I know that you guys are from very different fields, but when we say raw material, this is only the first step of the process, because from the raw materials, we process the raw materials and we get a finished product that we can use. Like, for example, I'm wearing headphones right now. If you go many years, in the past, the headphones that I have on my head right now used to be in the form of, I don't know, plastic or something like that, or wood in a forest, or iron deep underground that was mined, that was extracted to make some of the components, on my headphones. So you can see the data as raw materials that needs to be processed in order to produce beautiful results. Now, I have an interesting analogy. I'm pretty sure that many of you guys like good food, right? And as you can see, my search here is raw ingredients. And when you look at all these raw ingredients, you will hardly find things that you can take and eat just like that. Of course, there are a few fruits, like there's an apple here. You can eat an apple or a pineapple like that. I mean, of course, this is something that you can do. But I believe that you understand what I mean, right? Many of you will not take this. I'm not sure what it is, a roasted bone. Well, maybe it's pork meat or something like that. Many of you will not just take this and eat it just like that. Or many of you are not going to take these raw cereals and eat them just like that, or eat a raw onion or something like that, Many of you will not do that, I said many of you because we never know, right? Okay, so these are raw ingredients, but the fact that you can't use them as they are does not mean that they are useless. Okay, it doesn't mean that they are useless at all, because people who know how to cook, and that's very important, who know how to cook, can use these raw ingredients and turn them into beautiful dishes, right? So this is something that is yummy, and I would like to eat this, all right? And you can see the other beautiful dishes that you see in these wonderful pictures right here, right? Okay, so going back to the amount of data being generated in the world today, that's pretty much what we need to understand. These are raw materials, but you need to know how to cook in order to be able to produce beautiful dishes with it, right? And knowing how to cook in this case is knowing how to analyze data. And that's basically what we will be learning in this series of live streams, free courses that I'm offering for you guys. And guys, please, can you tell me in the chat, is the stream still going on? I mean, there is no activity in the chat, so I'm not sure whether you guys can still hear me or not. So will you please, write something to tell me that everything is going well, that you can still hear me loud and clear. Okay, so Kinley is saying perfect. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so I mean, I would say that, okay, Karuna Wara is saying, yup. Jody is saying perfect. Okay, wonderful. So it seems that the stream is going well. Okay, glad to hear that. All right, so it's a very important analogy to understand. Okay, so now let's talk about what we will be using. So for those of you in the Slack channel, I posted a video on how to install R and R Studio. Okay, now some of us, I'm pretty sure, because I posted a few more links after that, so some of you, I'm pretty sure, did not have the time to install it. That's perfectly fine. We're not going to start coding today. Again, we're just talking about the whole theory behind it, and when we meet next time, we're going to get coding. So in the meantime, if you haven't installed the software, please take some time and install. But again, everything that we're saying today is very important because it lays the foundation for what we're going to talk about. Okay, my friend Shen1 says it's going fine. Okay, thank you very much. All right, so there are two pieces of software that you have to install. The first software that my video shows you how to install is R, and the second one is R Studio. Okay, now some of you may ask, why are we, installing two pieces of software? I mean, we only need one. You told us that you were going to teach us how to program in R. So why is it that we take or we downloaded another software called R Studio? Well, there's a reason for that. And again, I did not lie to you when I said that I was going to teach you how to use R. And R is what we're going to be using. But before we go further, I would like to use another analogy to make you understand why we had to install two pieces of software. Now, the title of this interesting article here says 6 ordinary cars that share engines with exotics. Okay. Now, this is something, if you're not into cars, well, I'm not really into cars, but this is something that I know. If many people are not aware that, many cars that we use, even though they are very different, even though they have different prices, some are way more expensive than others, and so on and so forth, even though they are really not the same cars, many cars actually have the same engine. It's really weird, like the exact same engine. And we know that the most important component, hey, this is my baby and my wife, riding, walking by. And again, guys, this is the quarantine, right? So sometimes you will hear my baby crying and things like that. So I'm sorry about that in advance. Okay, so the engine of a car is the most important component of the car, arguably. And without an engine, the car will not move. And you see, and again, this is what I'm trying to get at. Many of the cars that we use actually have the exact same engine, the same model. The only thing that changes is what is around it. So in everything that we're going to do, guys, the engine, the brain behind the programming that we're going to be doing is R. It is called R. And that's the first piece of software that you installed. So at this point, you should have an icon like that on your desktop. Okay, so this is going to be the engine. But then, the way to interact with the engine of the car, okay, is basically the dashboard in the car, the body of the car. So you see, this car here provides you a specific way of interacting with the engine in it. This car has the exact same engine, okay, but then it gives you another way of interacting with that car. With that engine, sorry, and so on and so forth. So you see different car bodies, but the same engine, basically. All right. So, okay. So again, this article, I'm sorry, I was referring to another article. All these cars that you see here do not have the same engine, but this article is about these cars and other cars that they share the same engine with. Okay. But I hope you understand the analogy that I'm trying to make here. So interacting with the engine is provided to you with the dashboard, okay, but the engine is definitely the same. Now that we understand that, let us just double click on the original R. Okay, now if you double click on the original R, this is what you're going to see. All right, so right now I have the latest version. I think I'm going to okay, so I have the latest version right now, which is 3.6.3. If you don't have the latest version, it's perfectly fine. You're not going to miss out on anything. But, using this interface, we can do pretty much everything that R can do. Okay? We can do pretty much everything that is in the power of R. Because, again, it's all about the engine. The engine is the source of power, and we have that power available here, right? But guys, the truth is that this engine is, this user interface, what you're seeing right now is fairly old. It looks archaic. It looks like a software in the 1990s or something like that, right? It's pretty old. So what we do instead is, instead of working from a very old looking working environment, what we want to do instead is we want to use a much more modern interface, a modern software that is going to interact with the same R. Okay, so it's just a matter of, I'll say, quality of life, if you want. It's this new software is going to provide us with some quality of life improvements. Again, in the sense that you're going to have some sort of text completion, for example. Let me give you a quick example. Let's assume that I want to write some type of code. Let's say I want to calculate the average, okay, the average of, I don't know, of a few numbers. Well, in R you have the mean function, okay. And for those of you who are English speaking people, and by the way, my main language is French. French is the main language that I speak. But for English speaking people, or people who have studied in an English country, you know that mean is basically the average, right? So I just open the parenthesis. Now, it's not going to help me close that parenthesis, for example. Well, it's not, the difference is not big, but I would have loved for the software to help me close the parenthesis, because whenever you open the parenthesis, you have to close it, right? So if the software helps me close the parenthesis, then it's going to allow me to save a microsecond. And when you code for a long time, you're going to be saving many microseconds, and you're going to end up saving a lot of time at the end of the day, right? That's an example. And sometimes you want to write the name of a function. You would like for the program to help you, write the full function and stuff like that. So guys, again, R is the main engine we're going to be using, but we're not going to be working from the original interface of R. So let me just close this. We're going to be working from RStudio instead. So RStudio is just a car body, okay? You can see it as the body of the car, okay? The body of the car, and you can see it right now. It's much nicer. Now, if you open RStudio, your background is white. Mine is dark. I like working with a dark background. If you like it, I'm going to show you how to do it in a second, how to switch to dark background. Okay, so don't worry about it. But you see, now you have many panes. You have this main pane here called the console. You have another pane here. Now I can see the files that are in my computer. I have a whole list of menus, some icons, and I have, a few interesting things. And this is really going to help me out. Let me try to write the mean function once again. I'm going to write M. I'm going to write E. I'm going to write A. After writing A, the software is actually helping me figure out what I want. So do I want mean.date, mean.default, and so on and so forth. And because I want mean, I can just press the tab button. And you see, it actually writes the parentheses for me. I did not write this. All right, I did not write this. It helped me out. And then you see this little pop-up here telling me what I should put inside, if I want to calculate something. So these are the qualities of life that we like. And guys, RStudio is wonderful. I'm going to teach you how to use R, but I'm going to teach you also how to make the best out of RStudio, because there are many interesting shortcuts, many interesting things that are really going to speed up your workflow. Okay, so all these things are going to be taught. And guys, as I said, if everything is great, that's perfectly fine. But as I speak, if you have any question, again, I'm looking at the chat right now, So if something comes to mind and you would like to know, something at all, please do not hesitate to ask your question. And I'll be more than glad to help you out with your question. And again, I really wanted today to be more interactive. Of course, I'm presenting everything to you, but I really would love to hear from you too. And if you have a few questions or something like that, or if there are things that you're interested in and stuff like that, please go ahead and tell me. All right, so speaking of that, you see, I did not write any parentheses, as I said, but if I had written the entire mean, now if I open the parentheses myself, you see, it closes the parentheses for me, This is just a very small example, guys. RStudio has a lot of interesting things that we are going to be talking about. Okay. All right, now let's discuss very quickly what we're going to be covering in this course. Right now, as a professor, I'm giving all my classes online at the moment, and I'm sorry, guys. Ils vont te voir. Ok, mais je peux prendre pour toi. Oui, oui. D'accord, ça marche. Guys, I'm sorry. This is all the quarantine, the quarantine times, All right, guys. So as I said, as a professor right now, I'm giving all my classes online, and since I'm giving all my classes online, I stay at home pretty much. I make the videos for my students and all that, and I upload the videos for them. Oh, we have a newcomer, Putin Roaster. Welcome, Putin. How are you doing, Putin? All right. So um, I am actually willing to take this a little far, So I'm willing to teach you all the what you call it, the introductory stuff, and all the way to the intermediate stuff. Now, if we decide we can actually look at some advanced stuff, that's not a problem for me. So we're going to try to be, consistent. Meet a few times per week, and learn basically, because there are a whole lot of things that I would like to cover. So Putin is asking a question. Is it possible to use Python instead of R for data science? Oh yes, that's a very good question, Putin. Okay, so let me just finish my thought, and then I will answer your question. So as I said, we're going to start with the beginner stuff, then the intermediate, and then the advanced. Now, when I talk about advanced stuff, it's not like we're going to have an advanced course in R, but we can look at some specific advanced topics. Okay, like for example, web scraping, which is not actually too advanced. It's actually fine. Or how to make a web application, So I'm going to take some time and show you some web applications that I made, and all within R and stuff like that. Now, coming back to you, Putin. Yes, Python is actually so the two most popular languages for data analysis or data science as a whole today are R and Python. Python is a very powerful open source programming language for data science as well. So R and Python are really the two languages that I suggest to people who are interested in learning data analysis. So yes, Python can be used for data science. But of course, I am not going to cover Python because I don't have too much knowledge in Python. My knowledge in Python is I just really have the basics, but R is really what I master. Maybe, I mean, let's say I'm very proficient in R. That's what I would say instead. Okay, so guys, any other questions? And if you have a few questions, please go ahead and ask. If you don't, I'm going to tell you why I chose R as my main language for data analysis. And again, if you have an opportunity to learn Python, that's also perfectly fine. But I'm okay. I guess you guys do not have questions. I believe that everybody understands everything perfectly, I guess. Or you guys are not curious about anything. Or you just maybe following what I say. That's perfectly fine too. Okay, so let me tell you why I chose R. Actually, R is not my first data analysis language. I used some languages before that. Okay, there's this. What is DF? Okay. So this is a presentation that I made. I didn't really want to go through everything. I really wanted to interact with you, as I said. But let's quickly talk about why I think that R is a very great data analysis language to learn today. And unfortunately, I'm not even going to be able to cover everything about why R is so great for data analysis. But let's talk about a few things. Number one, R is free. Okay, of course, many of you on this stream today, you already have R installed on your computer. You didn't have to pay anything for it, right, to get it. So that's really great. So R is free. You don't have to pay anything. That's wonderful. All right. Now here I give just a few examples. Stata is actually pretty, popular, especially among economists. Uh, Programming language that people use. It's more of a syntax. It's more syntax based than actual script based like R. But this, in order to use it, you have to pay. Matlab is another example, and these are actually links, and I want to show you some prices. So for Stata, for example, it really okay. This link is it was supposed to take me to the, okay, I think it's right here. Oh, request a quotation. It was supposed to take me, oh yeah, so that's it right here. So I see that's the smallest version. So this would be 595 US dollars. And as you increase the power of the version that you use, you see that the price is also increasing, okay? And it goes all the way to 1,395. So these things can be pretty expensive. Let's take a quick look at Matlab. If you want to buy an annual license, okay, every year, it's going to be about 860 US dollars, okay? Now, if you want to buy it forever, it's going to be about 2,150 US dollars. But I think Matlab has okay, that's, if you're a student or a professor, this is how much you're going to have to pay. So $500, which is not bad, compared to other things, for a lifetime license, or 250 if you want to pay for it every year. Campus-wide use, of course you have to contact them if you want these different prices. Okay. Okay, so yeah, that's for education. So I guess this is for department maybe, and if you are a student, this is what you'll have to pay. So much less, right? So that's not bad, but still you have to pay, for it. Now the next one that I want to talk about is SAS. How is Matlab different from R? Please hold on to that thought, and I'm going to answer it right now. Or maybe I should just answer it right now. So Matlab is a language that was created. I mean, you can see that in the name. You have math, so mathematics. So it was really created for complex mathematical computations. It's not really a data analysis language, even though many people use it for that. Okay, people who already have knowledge in Matlab, they use it for data analysis, but it wasn't really built for data analysis. But this is basically the idea that was behind the creation of R. R was created for running data, to start with, and everything that was built into R had data in mind. And so this is why, as we start learning R, you'll see that if you don't have any knowledge in R, you'll see how intuitive it is. And this is why, in all the social media where I posted about this stream today, I said, I'm really looking for people who have zero knowledge in R. Of course, if you know a little bit of R, that's perfectly fine, okay? It's good to have a refresher and stuff like that. But you will see how intuitive R can be, and that's what I like about it. Now let's talk about SAS. Does any of you know, or has anyone here ever heard of SAS before? Can you please say something in the chat if you have? Okay, let me just continue while you guys are writing. Has any of you heard of SAS? Basically you can see some of the prices that we're talking about here. No, I don't need help. So on-demand cloud, okay, $800 monthly. For a desktop version, for the first year, less than $10,000. I mean, we don't know what it is, but it's less than $10,000. And that's the starting price. And for a server, it's between $10,000 and $100,000. This is how expensive some software can be, for running data analysis. Okay. All right, so the first, this dog is really surprised at how expensive this software can be. All right, so the first point here about R is it is free, so it's really great. Now, number two, R has a great community. And guys, honestly, I cannot emphasize enough how important a community is if you're trying to learn something, And R, to me, one of the greatest features, if I should say, of R is the community that it has. Guys, I'm telling you, I have never taken any R class, never ever. Okay, but today I'm teaching in R, I'm doing consulting jobs in R, I am training people in R, I am using R in my own research, in economics and all that. It's really hard to overstate. And all these things that I've learned was from the community. Okay, so this is really wonderful, guys. And what makes it great is, you have forums where you go and you ask questions and people answer your questions. They give you code, like you're looking for answers, and they write the code for you. They take their time, they write the code, and they show you how to debug your code. Or maybe you had an error, they'll tell you, hey, this is what went wrong, this is how you should go about it. And they are so nice too. And honestly, I was completely sold on R, especially for the community. I received so much help since I started. Okay, so all these links that you see there, these are just some links of people that made some courses, or they wrote some books. By the way, in the Slack channel, which we're going to talk about in a second, I created a new sub channel, a new sub channel for free resources where I will keep posting. I will keep posting some free resources, basically, to help you learn R. Okay, so all right, this is basically this is me, so the reason why it's great that you're following this stream now is because I am going to be here to help you. All right, something else which is important for R is that R is open. R is open. Now this is also very important, especially because the openness of R means that if you get the skills, you can actually break it down and look at what is inside. Every code that you see in R, you can actually look at everything that is behind it and learn from it if you want to. It's different from closed source software. When the source of a software is closed, it is just given to you and that's it. You can't really do anything about it. Like you can use it, of course, but you can't really understand what is happening behind it. I can't really tell you how many times I had to look at the code behind everything that is given to me in R just in order to learn a new technique. Especially I do a lot of there's a field called Econometrics. Some of you may have heard of it, and it requires a lot of mathematics and statistics, right? And when someone implements a function to run an econometric method, you can use the function and then you get the results. That's fine. But for someone like me, I try to understand what is the process to get to that result. And for that, I need to see what is behind the function. And in R, it's actually possible. You can break R in many ways. Actually, I want to do something a little crazy right now. Okay, let me do this just to show you how open R is. Okay, let me just do something very quickly. Don't worry, you don't need to code. I just want to show you something, I mean, we all know that the plus sign is just for additions, right? So 3 plus 4 is 7. So that's really something that is basic. But you see, the openness of R is so big that I can decide to redefine what plus means. Okay, and again, you're not really going to understand what I mean right now, but most of you, I guess. Okay, so let me just try this very quickly. Now, I just did something very weird. I just redefined plus and I made it such that it's going to be interpreted as minus from now on. So check what I'm going to do now. So if I do 10 plus 1, the answer is now going to be 9. Okay, that's really insane. Of course, you would never do it in real life because you don't want your plus to be minus. But this is just the level of openness that R has. You can do whatever you want with R if you have the skills for it. And if we end up getting to the more advanced stuff, I am going to teach you some really, really interesting things. Okay. And of course, when you define something as basic as this, whenever you restart R, the old meaning is going to come back to your R session. So I just restarted R. Now let me do 10 plus 1 and it's 11 again, just after restarting. So that's not a big problem. Okay, so R is open. That's really important. R is powerful. I think this is an important point because many people think that, because R is free, then, well, it's open source. And there's always this myth about open source software that, okay, open source software is not really good because it's free. Well, that is not the case for R. By the way, in a few slides, I'm going to show you some of the companies that use R. And you'll be really surprised how many top companies use R. Not throughout these companies, but at least for some of the things that they do, they use R. And again, I'm going to show it to you. But it works with many kinds of data. It doesn't matter. Like we talked about SAS, if you have SAS data, R will work with it. If you have SPSS data, you have Matlab data, you have Stata data, you have Excel data, Word, text data, and so on and so forth. Now, R is actually known for its fancy graphics as well. Data visualization in R is really, really, really awesome. Actually, there's this guy on Twitter that does, some really impressive 3D stuff. Okay, and let me just show it to you right now. He does some really, really impressive 3D stuff in R. So we're in the time of COVID. It just did some sort of bacteria or something like that. So this is a 3D map that was made in R. Yeah, this is what it just did. I think he posted it 6 hours ago. I just saw it and I was really surprised. This was made in R, guys. This was made in R. Okay, it does some interesting 3D stuff. Now it did all kinds of things, like it drew a Pokemon in 3D using R. Oh, for some reason. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay. Yeah, so look at this. I really like this. So from 2D, you're going to switch to 3D and then show a few perspectives. This was made in R as well. Yeah, and it's really insane because R really started with data analysis purely, but now all the things that were added in R, have made it a very, very powerful language. So this is some sort of map. You can use this kind of 3D stuff to show data as well. This is geospatial data. When you see a map like that, so I do a little bit of geospatial analysis as well. And this is one of the intermediate to advanced stuff that I can teach you, if you guys are interested in the future, and so on and so forth. How long have we been streaming? I don't even know where to see the time, but okay. But we won't take too much longer, guys. Okay. Now, this is not really data analysis. This is just art, I guess. A teapot that changes shapes and stuff like that. There are really interesting things. So I was talking about fancy graphics. Of course, this is an example with 3D, but you can make very nice plots, and you can actually do some animations in R as well. Powerful packages. We're going to talk about packages, machine learning and deep learning. This is really the hot stuff these days. People are talking about AI, artificial intelligence and things like that. Okay, you can do it in R. Image processing, reporting, web, scraping data from the web or making some web applications and things like that. You can do it in R. Now, speaking of web applications, I want to show you an example of an application made by Airbnb. Okay, it's taking a little bit of time to load. Maybe because the network is in high demand right now. Okay, so Airbnb, I'm not sure whether you know it, but it's a service that allows you to, do a whole lot of things, especially renting some places whenever you travel at a low cost, So if you go to New York City, for example, and you're looking for a place with some specific features, you can use this application. This was made in R entirely, by the way. Okay, you can use this application. Let's say, okay, I want either Manhattan or Staten Island. So I can just tick them like that, and then it shows me all the different locations of available places that I can rent. Okay, now I want a private room. I don't want an entire room, and I don't want a shared room. I want a private room. And you see the map is updated automatically. So maybe there's a specific place that I'm interested in, I can kind of zoom in, click on it, and this is going to be $85 per night. The rating is 88, that's out of 100, which is great, and there are 12 reviews. This is data analysis, guys. I told you, right, that the data is the raw material. So all this that you see here, this was once in a very big spreadsheet, but from that spreadsheet we can now produce a beautiful map with information on it like that, and I can change a few things here as well, and so on and so forth. Okay, as I said, guys, we're not going to take so much longer. I wanted to show you a few visualizations examples. Which one is going to be interesting to see? Okay, let's talk about income distribution in the United States. Now take a quick look. These are the different fields. Maybe you are currently in one of these fields, okay, and this is how much people in these fields are making. Of course, in the field of finance, everybody's not making the same amount, so there's some sort of distribution, of how much people are making. But this small visualization is going to show us how the distribution of income changed over time in these fields. So in 1960, this was the distribution. In 1980, see how it changed. Then in 2000, see how it changed. Then in 2014. Okay. So all this again was in the form of spreadsheets, okay, raw data, and they were used as raw materials, like we said at the very beginning, in order to produce a beautiful dish like this. Okay, all right, guys, I'm not going to show you everything. Now, R is popular. I told you that I was going to show you some companies, a list of companies that use R. Facebook, Twitter, Google, Ford, BCG, Uber, Microsoft, McKinsey and Company. Now, let me show you a few more things. Again, I'm not really sure what your fields are, okay? But hey guys, if you're still following now, can you please write in the chat very quickly, what is your field? What's your main field right now? Like for example, as I told you, my field is economics. What about you guys? I'd like to know a little more about you. And I really hope that there's a little more interaction in the future. And of course, I know that you guys are paying attention and all that. But hey, feel free to interact in the chat. That's perfectly fine. But please tell me, guys, what's your field? I know Jody is finance. Okay, Kinley is conservationist. Okay, wonderful. All right, guys. What about the others? What's your field? Oh, biologist. Okay, so Kinley and Karunawara. Of course, these are not the same things, but you basically both work with nature. Okay, that's wonderful. What about the others, guys? I know there are about 6 people right now. Okay, Shenwan, healthcare professional. Wow. Data analysis in the healthcare sector is wow. I mean, there's so much data in that sector, especially with the COVID-19, not only that, but I have actually worked with a little bit of healthcare data. This is a really wonderful sector to be doing some data analysis. That's wonderful. Okay, so let's take a quick look at some of the companies. You might recognize some of them. We already talked about Facebook, Google, Twitter, Microsoft, Uber, Airbnb, which I just showed you an application that was developed in R by Airbnb, IBM, ANZ, HP, the computer company, Ford, the car company, and so on and so forth. IT companies, you can see them here, very powerful companies are using R, as you can see. Okay, by the way, this presentation, you may want to go through it. It's what is DS? DS stands for data science. So what is DS for what is data science? .netlify.com. So it's a presentation that I made for a data analysis or data science seminar that I taught at my university for graduate students. So this was kind of like the introduction. Okay, I would just show it to the students the first day. All right, so this is just to tell you guys that R is used by very big companies. I mean, you see Google, you see Twitter, you see Amazon, you see these companies, then you know that R is a big thing. Okay. All right, so that's basically what I wanted to talk about, and this is where I talk about R Studio. We're going to do this next time instead. We're not going to do it today. All right, guys. So this was just an introduction. I guess we have about 10 minutes at most left, and then we're going to end the stream today, and that'll be a 1 hour. But then, I guess, of course, we have a lot more people in the Slack channel. Okay, I said I wanted to talk about the Slack channel, but let's talk about this first. Um, so what we're going to be learning in the basic stuff that we're going to start from next time is, first we're going to get to know our work environment. We'll try to take some time and get more familiar with our studio. What are these different sections and what can you do with them, and so on and so forth. That's one of the things that we're going to do. Okay. Also, we're going to learn how to import data into R, because that's the first step. If you want to analyze data, data is outside R. If you want to analyze it, you need to import it inside R. Right. So I was actually thinking about using some COVID-19 data sets. Okay. But then, I decided that I was going to use a set of data that I've been using a lot for teaching data analysis. And Jody actually, by the way, Jody is a very good friend of mine. So I taught her some data analysis a few months ago now. We're going to use data on flights, air flights within the United States. So we're going to put ourselves in the shoes of an analyst who is analyzing flights in the United States. So this is real world data, and we're going to use it, and that's how we're going to be acquiring the skills. One thing too that I want to do in this, series of lectures or training, if you will, is I want to make it as practical as possible. I know that you guys are busy and all that, but I am going to assign you some exercises, assign you some projects and whatnot. Because you see, the best way to be good at coding is to code. So, of course, when we meet here, I'm going to be showing you things and you guys can be coding alongside me. That's perfectly fine. But it's when you apply the code on like yourself, on something yourself, that's really when it clicks and that's when it sticks to you. So I'm going to be assigning some projects that you guys are going to be working on, and who knows, in the future we might actually find some interesting ways of having some of you guys come on the stream and present what you guys did to everybody else. Let's really build a community like that, a community of learners. And guys, that's really what we're going to be doing. We're going to learn how to import data, how to manipulate and transform data, how to merge data, how to visualize data. We're going to learn all these things, and then we're going to go into other topics. We're going to talk about for loops, conditional statements, and things like that. It's going to be interesting. So I really have a lot of things to share with you guys, and hopefully we can actually keep it going. And once again, I know that most of you will not be able to follow the stream every single time, but I'll make sure that the videos are recorded. I'm not even sure whether this is being recorded, but even if it's not recorded, it's going to be on Twitch, so I can actually pull it from Twitch, so that's fine. So yeah, everything is going to be recorded, and I'm going to be posting it on YouTube. Okay, now let's finish this with the Slack channel. Okay. All right, so this is Jody, who was interacting with me while I was talking, because she doesn't have a Twitch account, so she can't really say anything on Twitch right now. Okay, so guys, if you haven't done it yet, please, I would love for you to go to the Introduce Yourself channel and then say something about you. Okay, well, I introduced myself right here, so if you want to know a little more about me, I guess, I said a few things here, and many people have actually introduced themselves, which is really great. Actually, I think we have about 25 people on the Slack channel, if I remember correctly. I'm going to check it again. But again, I guess the time now didn't work out for everybody, so I really don't know how, and because of the time zones, of course, it's never going to work for everybody, but we're going to try our best, to find a time that is suitable for most people, I would say. Okay, so please, if you haven't done it yet, introduce yourself here. Now, if you have questions, maybe you watch the stream again, some specific parts or something like that, and you have questions, or maybe you know some things outside the stream, you can go ahead and ask your questions here. But I really would love for you to focus on the questions about what I taught in the stream so that we remain really focused on the things that I've taught. Now, if you have other questions, please feel free to ask me. That's not really a problem. If I don't have the answer, I can help you look for the answer, or maybe try to point you in the right direction where you can find answers. You know, and of course, I don't know everything. Okay, so I am just going to see what I can do for you if I can do anything for you. Okay, this is for random stuff. You know, if there are random things that you want to say or you want to share with us, you can definitely do it in the random channel. Okay, well, general is really general. Okay, so Jody is about to say something. Okay, so free resources. All right, so this is what I was referring to earlier. I posted these links of, you know, some free resources. I told you that. Yeah, so that the community in R was great. All these guys are books that were written by people. Every square that you see here is a book that was written by people. Some of them are in Mandarin, okay? Most of them are in English. I told you about geospatial analysis. This is a book on geospatial analysis in R, and it's completely free online. Let me prove it to you. I just clicked on it, and that's the book right here. These are all the chapters on the left. Okay, this is the book, and you can you know, learn like that. So the community is really great. You know, they do things and they make it available for free. Of course, if you want a hard copy of the book, you will need to pay for it. But then you can have access to all the content of the book online. You can make a website in R. Okay, you can make a website in R. This is one of the topics that we may cover at some point, and I really would love to cover it. This is a book that talks about it. Okay. And there are many books. I mean, look at how much more we have left. You know, so that's the wonder. Yeah. So one of the advanced topics that we're going to talk about is text mining. How to analyze text. Actually, whenever we say data, we mainly think about numbers, but the most plentiful, the most abundant data in the world is text data, and you can actually analyze text. So I'm going to teach you something that we call regular expressions. And we're going to be doing some text mining as well. It's going to be awesome. Okay, so I mean, there are a few other links that I shared here. I'm going to create more channels, and if I create more channels, I'll just let you guys know in the general channel. Okay, when is our next class? Okay, we're going to talk about it. I said 10 minutes. I think we have a few more minutes. I'm going to create more channels just so that we can specify specific things separate from other things, you know. So for example, the data that we're going to be using when we start analyzing data, I'm going to create a data channel, okay, and all the data will be there, okay. Also, because we're going to be live coding, okay, we're going to be live coding, you will have access to my screen, of course, at every single point in time. But the problem is, whatever I write here, you just have to look at it and then write yourself or type yourself. So I'm going to use something that will help you out. I'm going to send you a link that will contain the code that I'm writing live. And the link is going to be updated dynamically. So as I type, the link is going to be updated. And this link, you will be able to copy and paste. So if you're trying to write code or maybe you don't type fast, okay, if it's really difficult for you to keep up, you can just copy and paste the code. But I'm going to make sure that I explain everything that I do. So please focus on the code that we're going to do, that we're going to type, but the explanation is the most important things. So this is why we're going to code, and then we're going to take some time for answering questions, code, question answers, code, question answers, and so on and so forth, because again, understanding is really key. We're not here just to write code. I mean, if it's for writing code, you can just pick some random code and then write it, right? But if you understand, Like, what I really want is for you guys to speak the language, right? And this is an analogy that I use very often. You know, sometimes I have people asking me, especially students, please, what code can achieve X, or what code can achieve Y? This is not really how you should go about things. It's like, for example, I speak French, right? Let's assume that I go to your country, okay? And let's say your country is Vietnam, and I don't know how to speak Vietnamese. If I'm going to Vietnam and I'm going to live there, I am not going to have a list of sentences in Vietnamese and the translations in French. For me, like, if I'm hungry, I'm going to look it up. How do I say I'm hungry in Vietnamese and then say it? Or how do I say I want to go to the market and then say it? That's not really how languages work. If I go to Vietnam and I take some time, like 6 months, and I try to learn how the language is spoken, well, if I do that, then I will be able to form my own sentences. So whatever I want to say, I will be able to say it in Vietnamese. This is really the approach that I use when I teach data science and programming. The angle from which I teach is not that of teaching you this code does this code does that. Of course, that is important, but the grammar itself is what I really would love for you guys to learn. All right. Okay, guys, so we are going to end it in the next 2 minutes. Jody was asking when the next stream was going to be. Oh, we have someone who just joined our Slack channel. That's wonderful. Okay, his name is Timis. Okay, great. Guys, let's meet on Sunday at 2 p.m. But in the meantime, on Slack, I am going to post some sort of survey, and ask you guys what times you feel are better, and of course it's impossible to please everyone at the same time, but I am going to try to. Okay. So Timis is asking, did the session finish? I don't know. I don't even know what to tell him. Can someone please reply to him in general? I think Jody, you already in general. Can you please tell him that we are about to end, but he can watch the stream. I'm going to post all the links and all that. So Jody, can you please reply to him? Thank you. All right. So so as I was saying, we can please everybody, but we're going to try. The reason why I chose 2 p.m. is exactly for that. I know that many people are way ahead of me and many people are behind me, right? So 2 p.m. I think is kind of okay, because for some of you, please, if you're still here, can you please tell us what time is it where you are right now? So it's 3:10 right now where I am. It's 3:10. So can you please write in the chat what time is it where you are right now? All right, thank you, Jody. Are you guys still here? I can see that you guys are still online. Oh. Okay. All right. Whoa. It's 10 p.m. for Karuna. Okay. Wow. That's pretty late. So that's okay. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So that's basically why I did it, right? So 2 p.m. is going to be evening for some people. It's going to be morning for other people, and all right. So Willem, 8 p.m. in Accra. Okay, wonderful. Okay, great. Wow, 2 a.m. Goodness gracious. Well, Shenwan, please tell me. Oh, when you said 22:11, I thought you said 10 p.m. Where is Bhutan? Can you please tell me a little more about Bhutan? Sorry for exposing my ignorance. But can you please tell us about, your wonderful home? I'm actually on I can see some mountains and stuff like that. It seems like you live in a really nice place, my friend. Okay. That's a kingdom. Goodness gracious. Wonderful. Okay. All right. So I'm on Google Maps right now, and I'm seeing where Bhutan is, and I hope I'm saying it the right way too. Wow. Okay, that's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for staying up this late, to follow the stream. I feel so honored that someone would sacrifice their sleep to listen to what I have to say. I feel so honored, and thank you very much for that. Hopefully, you'll be able to join the next streams, and hopefully, we'll be able to learn a lot together. Um, that's really what I'm hoping. Uh, okay, yeah, Kinley is from Bhutan as well. I see. Whoa. Okay, that's really great. That's really wonderful. Okay, currently based in Germany. Okay, all right. So hopefully I can visit Bhutan one of these days. I just saw these pictures with the wonderful mountains. This looks like a place that I would love to go. Okay, I'm really glad that you're a part as well. All right, guys. So in the last 30 seconds, do you have any question at all? Some things about the future or anything at all? Is there anything that you would like for me to address? Any question that you have? If you do, perfect. Hello from Greece. Okay, Themis just joined us here. Hey, Themis, welcome. We're just ending the stream right now. Uh, and but the recording is available if you want to listen to what we had to say. We spent about, I guess, an hour and 15 minutes so far. If you have a little bit of time, you can just put it in the background and listen to what I said. We didn't do any codes today, really. We just kind of introduced the whole idea of the stream and what we want to achieve, and we talked about R and why R is a really wonderful programming language for data analysis, but we haven't really started coding. Okay, we will do that when we meet next time. All right, guys, so I'm still waiting. Do you have any questions, anything that you would like me to address, anything at all? If you do not, I guess we'll have to say goodbye at this point. All right, let me just wait a few seconds. And Jody, thank you very much for letting Themis know that we're here. Okay, you just saw the post on Facebook. Wonderful. So you saw it, I think, in the R Studio Facebook group. Okay, great. So next time we'll meet. It should be on Sunday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. But then I'm going to put up a survey. It would be great if YouTube Live could work. YouTube has better compression algorithm. Yes, I perfectly agree with you. I think the encoder in YouTube is actually much better. I mean, it's been there for a long time. Yes, so right after this, I'm going to make sure that I run some tests to make sure that everything is working well for YouTube as well. Yeah, thank you very much, Wilhelm. Wilhelm is a really good friend of mine. When I was in undergraduate school in a beautiful country in West Africa called Ghana, I met Wilhelm and we became brothers. So Wilhelm is my brother. He's still in Accra, but we've still kept in touch since then. Thank you very much for joining us, Wilhelm. YouTube may be better. I had few instances of frozen stream. Okay, sure, no problem. My plan was really to stream from both sides because I know a lot of people on Twitch who said they were interested. So my plan was really to stream on both websites at the same time. Anything else, guys, before we say goodbye? Anything else? I'm gonna wait 15 more seconds to see if there's anything that you would like to say or anything you would like to ask or anything at all. Okay, all right, guys. So my very last thing is this was really my very first stream, my very first live stream. So I'm really learning how to do it, and hopefully the quality of the stream increases over time, maybe with overlays and with things, oh, you're very welcome. I'm really okay, Kinley. Okay, all right. Maps and stuff like that, I do that a lot. So yes, we will cover that. That will be in the intermediate level. Yes. Okay. So yeah, the quality of the stream will increase over time. Hopefully, and I'll try to learn. Try to learn from some professional streamers and stuff like that. Jody, you're welcome. yeah, I'll try my best and do a better job over time. Okay, and of course, if you guys are into streaming or you know what to do, please, we have the Slack channel. Send me a private message and let's talk about it. I'll be more than happy. All right, guys, take care and stay safe. Make sure that you stay at home, wash your hands, all the good stuff, and let's keep chatting. Let's keep the conversation going in Slack. All right, guys, you take care, and I'll test out YouTube right now and then post the links and everything on Slack. All right, thank you very much, guys. Take care.